Roller coasters are supposed to be fun. They're supposed to make you scream, laugh, and get off saying, let's do that again.
But sometimes things go very wrong.
Let's be real. For every Steel Vengeance, there's a ride that makes you question your life choices.
A ride so painful, so rough, or just so aggressively boring that lands squarely on our permanent skip list.
Whether it's painful restraints, outdated design, or rough tracking, or just a straight up boring experience, not every coaster is a winner.
We're counting down the bottom of the barrel. We're counting down the 10 worst roller coasters we've ever ridden.
A quick disclaimer. This list is based on our own personal opinions of ride experience, comfort, pacing, and overall enjoyment, not just stats.
And if your favorite coaster is on this list, just remember, it's not personal.
Okay, maybe it is a little.
Let's get into it.
'Cause I feel the air.
Starting us off at number 10 is Coast Rider at Knott's Berry Farms.
Now on paper, Coast Rider should be fun. It's a family wild mouse coaster with tight turns, decent speed, and a really good location in the park.
But then there are the restraints.
These shin guards are legendary, and not in a good way. If you're over the age of 10, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Every turn slams your shins into hard plastic.
The layout itself is fine, but the constant pain completely ruins the experience. It's one of those rides where you spend the whole time bracing instead of enjoying.
Coast Rider isn't terrifying, it's not exciting, it's just uncomfortable.
And that earns it the number 10 spot.
Okay, so that was one of the best wild mouse I've ever been on,
One of the best.
except for the restraints.
He sucks.
I've never had something hit my leg, like it literally hits your shin so hard you can't get it down to your waist.
Number 9, Magnum XL200 at Cedar Point.
Yes, we know this one's controversial. Magnum XL200, it's a historic coaster, the world's first hyper, and for that alone, it deserves respect.
But history doesn't automatically mean it's good.
Those triangle airtime hills are brutal. That old aero track is rough. Magnum delivers airtime, but it's the kind that feels more like being shaken off the train. Combine that with sharp transitions, the aging track, and you got a ride that feels more like survival than enjoyment.
We keep going back and rewriting Magnum thinking we must have missed something because it can't be that bad, but it always is. And yes, we have ridden in row 3 and it was just as painful as any other row.
Magnum is important, Magnum is iconic, but Magnum is also painful, especially compared to modern B&Ms and Morgan Hypers that do the same thing, just way better. Now, Kyrie, what'd you think?
No.
I don't know why people like this ride. Like, you can't compare this to Mamba or Steel Force. It's rough. It constantly potholes. I don't know what the allure is to this ride that people think this is wonderful. It's awful.
Diving in at number 8, Journey to Atlantis at SeaWorld San Antonio.
Now, this ride has a weird identity crisis. Is it a water ride? Is it a roller coaster?
The answer is kind of, but not successfully.
The actual coaster portion is short and forgettable. The theming feels unfinished, and those 2 turntables are so painfully slow.
The drops aren't thrilling, the splash isn't even impressive, and the ride spends a lot of time just doing nothing.
It's not offensively bad, it's just boring. And honestly, boring might be worse. Okay, so we just got off of Journey to Atlantis. I'll let her do it.
It was stupid.
It really was.
It was dumb.
It had, first of all, no theme whatsoever.
Absolutely.
But
We got wet,
it just,
and at least that was at least fun.
yeah, it just made no sense. Yeah, the sprints felt great, but I
I mean, but this was just stupid. I mean, it had no story, it had no theme whatsoever. It was just not good.
the drop was good.
The drop was my favorite part.
Yeah.
I think it's everybody's, but
Our number 7 is the weirdest location on this list, the Fringing Coaster in Niagara Falls, Canada.
Yes, it's the coaster that's built in the roof of a building right above a Burger King.
This coaster is located on Clifton Hill, an area packed with attractions, so expectations were already pretty modest. But even then, Fringing Coaster manages to disappoint.
This is essentially a glorified kiddie coaster. It's just a bunch of left-hand turns, and these turns are just a series of violent, janky laterals.
Plus, the ride is extremely short for what you pay to ride it, which wasn't cheap. The 2-lap experiences is short, loud, and uncomfortable. It's really just an underwhelming novelty, not a thrill ride.
Franken Coaster isn't memorable, it isn't thrilling, it's the definition of a one-and-done credit. Okay, the Franken Coaster. It was, for her and I to ride it that one time, it was 26 Canadian dollars. Worth it to get the experience and the credit, but I would never do that again.
Never.
Ever. It was a horrible coaster, number one, and it wasn't worth the value.
At number 6, we've got Rougarou, another Cedar Point entry.
This coaster used to be Mantis, a famously rough B&M stand-up coaster. The idea was that converting into a floorless model would solve the roughness problem.
Unfortunately, the ride didn't improve much. The track was designed for the different center of gravity of a stand-up model, so the floorless trains just don't interact well with the elements.
Rougarou is a violent ride. The transitions are sharp and quick. Instead of a smooth gliding experience, you get a lot of shaking and head banging.
It's not the worst ride ever, but it's massively disappointing, especially considering its prime location and potential.
Cedar Point deserves better, and so do riders. Okay, so Rougarou was painful.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
It's those old school over the shoulder, you're banging your ears. It was a fun layout, but man, that really bangs your ears pretty hard.
Cracking the top 5 is Avengers Flight Force at Disneyland Paris, a coaster that used to be Rock and Roller Coaster before receiving its Marvel retheme, and that history matters.
This coaster had everything going for it. A launch, an indoor setting, the marble theming. The ride layout is largely the same, but instead of feeling fresh or upgraded, the retheme somehow made the experience feel worse.
The ride is rougher than it has any right to be, and the transitions through the inversions are uncomfortable.
The new Avengers theming relies heavily on screens, but they're dark and they don't sync well with the coaster's motion, which makes the ride feel chaotic rather than immersive. Avengers Flight Force feels like a downgrade.
For a Disney coaster, that's just unacceptable.
Right there.
Nice.
At number 4, we have Ninja at Six Flags St. Louis, an Aero and Vekoma looping coaster that feels like it was designed in a lab to maximize headbanging.
This ride is old, rough, and painfully outdated. The transitions between the elements are abrupt, the inversions are uncomfortable, the over-shoulder restraints make sure your head never stops slamming from side to side.
The layout itself isn't terrible on paper, but the execution is brutal. Every corkscrew feels like a boxing match, and the ride never finds a smooth rhythm.
Ninja isn't scary because of tighter speed. It's scary because you're hoping your neck survives the ride.
It's a classic example of how early looping coasters have not aged well.
And why modern track profiling and restraints matter so much. Okay, so that is in competition for one of the top worst coasters I've ever been on in my life.
Awful.
Absolutely awful. I can't believe how bad that was. Just painful. It's
wonder someone grew up on that.
the elements were just horrible. It just bang. Oh, it was it was
I
horrible.
didn't even wait for that.
Never again.
Coming in at number 3 is Wallabies at Canada's Wonderland.
Wooden coasters can be rough and fun. Wild Beast is just rough.
It's a clone of Grizzly at King's Dominion, a ride that proves this layout can be excellent when it's properly maintained.
Grizzly recently received a major gravity group retrack.
Wallabies, on the other hand, feels like it was left behind.
The ride is aggressively rough with constant jackhammering and painful lateral forces that overwhelm any sense of enjoyment.
You spend the whole time in a defensive brace rather than enjoying the speed or the hills. It feels like the track is constantly fighting the train, and by the end, you're just relieved it's over.
There's classic, and then there's outdated. Wild Beast falls firmly into the outdated category.
This coaster isn't bad because of its layout, it's bad because of its condition, and that makes it one of the biggest missed opportunities on this list.
That takes the award for the worst wooden roller coaster I've ever been on in my life. That makes Roar and Lightning Racer look brand new. I mean, ugh, awful. Kyrie?
The first drop was so bad. I was like not looking forward to it.
So bad.
And it was just horrible.
This thing was just a jackhammer. So awful.
At number 2, Vekoma boomerangs. Not just one, all of them.
These shuttle coasters are cloned everywhere, and for good reason. They're cheap, compact, and reliable.
But the ride experience? Absolutely terrible.
The restraints cause intense headbanging. The transitions are brutal, and riding the same layout forward and backwards, it just doubles the pain. Some parks have upgraded to the new trains with the vest restraints, which does make them a little bit more tolerable, but the majority of the boomerangs out there are still a rough, neck-jarring experience that we actively avoid.
One ride is enough to remind you why these coasters have such a bad reputation. They're not exciting, they're not smooth, they're just painful.
Oh, God! Ah! Oh, that was bad. Okay, that was amazing.
Horrible.
That was awful.
Hands, arms,
Awful.
legs,
Awful.
all the time.
Awful.
Now head back.
It was a Vekoma boomerang.
And finally, the worst roller coaster we've ever ridden,
Flight Deck. This coaster is the perfect storm of bad design, rough tracking, horrible restraints. The headbanging is relentless, the transitions are jarring, the ride feels outdated in every way possible.
Every element is uncomfortable. Every turn hurts. And the experience never improves.
Flight Deck isn't fun.
It isn't thrilling.
It's just painful.
And that's why it takes our number 1 spot.
That was the worst experience I've ever had on a roller coaster. That was the worst experience I've ever had.
It was just so. I've never been scared to ride a roller coaster before actually on the roller coaster. That was actually scary.
That is the worst
and that was
coaster I've ever been on in my life.
Oh my-
Yes, that's the number 1 worst coaster I've ever been on in my life. That was awful.
So there you have it, our list of the 10 worst roller coasters we've ever ridden.
Do you agree with our list? Did we leave out your least favorite ride? Or did we roast one of your favorites a little too hard?
Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like and subscribe for more coaster content.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next ride.
'Cause I feel the air.
Never again will I get on that or any of these spinners.